Hey folks, been a wee while since I've done a pre-recorded video, and I know I say that every time, but apologies, just been a really busy time. I'm here today to share with you some of the stuff that I got from, so I was at a Julia Jeffrey art exhibit at the weekend on Sunday at the Glasgow Theosophical Society. So Julia Jeffrey is the creator of a couple of tarot decks, and well, I got her tarot deck, so I'm going to show you them. But first I wanted to share this art print that I'd got, so let me share. So I believe this is the King of Cups in one of our decks, but this is Manannán MacLír, I think is what I want to call it, but I might have gotten that wrong. But it's absolutely stunning. Kind of has like almost like Gandalf vibes to it. But I think he's like a Celtic sea god, if I've remembered that correctly. I might not have. But yeah, absolutely stunning, and I'm going to have to look for a nice frame and get it up on the wall. So that's exciting. But the decks that I've gotten, so Julia Jeffrey is the creator of Tarot of the Hidden Realm, and more recently of the Witch Sister Tarot. And because the cellophane is still on these, it's reflecting the light really funny. So yeah, if you've seen my Instagram, then you would have seen that you all know me, you know I'm rubbish at taking photos and stuff like that. I'm not a vlogger by any means. But my friend Marion, who I was there with, our lovely Marion K Tarot, and she took photos and videos and stuff, and she put together like a wee reel, and I shared it to my story actually, but if you check out Marion's Instagram, then you'll see that. You'll see a video of me looking awkward and then waving like an idiot. But yeah, we had a great time. Julia is such a lovely, down-to-earth person, I have to say. It was really nice getting to know her and yeah, just chatting to her, seeing her work. Her work is absolutely stunning. She's a beautiful, beautiful painter. But yeah, I'm excited to share some of her work with you. So what I'll do, I'm going to do a walkthrough of the Hidden Realm just now, and we will hit up the Witch Sister Tarot in a different video. So now you get to watch me try and open this. I think I make people nervous when I did a video of Marion's deck. I was making people nervous with my scissor technique. So hopefully that wasn't too bad. So this is it's a Llewellyn deck. It's one of the kind of a newer boxes, so this is a magnetic flip box. This is a, you know, this is an old, not an old deck, but this is like a classic. Let me see when this was brought out. Just looking for a copyright or something that says when it was created. 2013, there we go. So 12 years old, this deck. So it's not a new one, most of you probably know it, but sometimes I just thought it'd be fun to share my not first impressions, but my kind of impressions of the deck as I go through it. Funnily enough, I did initially just pick up so Julia had some copies of her decks on the table, and she had like an opened copy of the deck, of each deck there, where you could look through. And I picked up the Witch Sister Tarot initially because I knew I wanted it. And then I was looking at the Tarot of the Hidden Realm, and I'll be totally honest, I noticed that there was quite a lot of good looking men in this deck. And I thought, no, I need to pick this one up too. So that was the reason why I kind of what made me get it. But yeah, so on the back, just to read that out, it says, imagine strolling through a forest, the late afternoon sun filtering through the leaves. Suddenly, voices and laughter and music seemed to be bubbling out of the stillness of the trees. Then you realise you're not hearing things, because right before your very eyes are people, at least you think they're people, dancing. You've crossed the threshold into fairy, a place beyond our everyday world. The Tarot of the Hidden Realm is a doorway into that place. It is a realm alive with wilderness and wonder, a place of shamanic visions. Intuitive and elemental, this gorgeously illustrated deck is an invitation to enter the source of wisdom and healing that we've all felt just beyond our reach. As you can see, if I just flip through the book, we're getting lots of lovely juicy information on each card. So you're seeing we get a page, 2 pages worth for each of the majors. The minors it's the same actually. So yeah, amazing. And what are we getting here? So we're getting some information on what is tarot, so some precursory information, reading essentials, then stuff on each of the cards, some spreads information, and then some fairy guides. So that's what we get with the book, so that's going to make some fun reading. We've got more cellophane here, so let me just get into that. I do love the backs, and it's your typical Llewellyn cardstock. I'm a fan of it. I know not everyone is, but to me, I need to be able to shuffle my cards, and I'm a riffle shuffler, so I do like Llewellyn cardstock because it's nice and pliable, and I can get that nice shuffle on it. Let me do a wee bit of zooming in. Actually turn this light off because that might be better. No, it's not actually. Okay, so we've got our fool. Really nice. He looks as though he's having a good time, he's enjoying himself, he's laughing. Which the fool should be. The fool should be carefree and enjoying, living life, living it to the max, that type of thing. Magician. He's getting his boobs out. High Priestess. Love the moon behind her. The Empress with the apples. Actually reminds me a lot of the Marielle. Marielle Empress has apples in her dress, if I remember rightly. Odin vibes for the Emperor, which is pretty cool. These 2 ravens. Hierophant. Beautiful Chariot card. Strength. If you look at the Chariot and Strength next to each other, there's a beautiful duality there. I'm saying Chariot, this is called the Fairy Stallion. Hermit. Fortune Fairy. And then you've got we used to do that thing where you make a wish and then you blow the dandelion. Hanged Man. Beautiful death card. Quite a traditional temperance card. It's got the the 2 cups and the pouring. We've got Shadow Dance for the devil. The Blasted Beach for the tower. I'm holding these up so that you can. I'm trying to look and see how they are in the light. I've actually just realised that I left. Hang on, let me get rid of this because that doesn't need to be there anymore. Remove. Didn't make much of a difference because it wasn't obstructing anything, but I realised I'd left that there from the previous video I was doing. Life renewed instead of judgment. I like that. That's a nice positive change. Beautiful world card. And then into our minors, so we've got wands. So our ace of wands. Three of wands. Oh. 5. So you still get that feeling that like no one's working together here, no one's kind of talking to each other. Almost feels like maybe they're all trying to best each other. Maybe there is a bit of a competition thing going on there. But like no one's going in the same direction, no one's communicating, this isn't a joint effort, it's almost like everyone's working against each other, you know? Or independently of each other. 6, beautiful red hair in the 6 of wands. There's a few of the individuals on the cards that have got beautiful striking red hair. It really stood out to me when I was looking through the deck. There's another one actually, the 8. That's right, I remember that. Like, so the Julia paints with. So when I was looking at the exhibition, the paintings that were up in the wall, say she uses acrylics and mixed media, and I just think it's astounding that such detail. When you look at the hair, look how fine. Like, cause I'm not an artist by any means, but I do a wee bit of painting, and it's acrylics that I've painted with, and I know how difficult it is, or how difficult I found it to get lines that are so fine and such fine detail. So I really appreciate it. I think the hair is like the thing that really stands out to me about that card. 9. An interesting 10 of wands, so we don't get that feeling of like burden or oppression, or at least that's not what strikes me when I see this card. So it might be interesting actually for me to have a look at the book for the 10 of wands and see what she says about it. Page or knight. So everything's creaking. It's not just me, it is the desk. I'm getting old and I do creak a wee bit more than I used to, but that's the desk that you're hearing. Our king of wands. So we're on to cups. So it looks as though, well, each of the aces that I've saw so far, it's been an animal, which is quite cool. I'm wondering if that it will we'll see that theme continued in the Ace of Swords and Pentacles. It's a powerful 5. You don't quite get the usual, vibes of loss and bereavement and, sadness necessarily, but then do we see that in an alternative way with, because fives are like when we see that imbalance of the element, and cups is of course the element of water, so we see the waves crashing in and almost creating that that intensity and that difficulty. And then with the 6 we almost see the kind of a reharmonising. Both of the kings that I've seen quite so far are both quite young faced. And then we do see the animal theme continuing, so I can't quite remember what the animal was in the Ace of Wands. I maybe need to look back, but in the cups I think we had some kind of water animal, I think, and now we've got a bird, an animal of the sky for the swords suit. He needs to choose his words wisely in the 2 of Swords. The 3. See, I like this because I suppose we do see the blood drop, so maybe it is kind of a tapping into those feelings of heartache and pain, but I see 3s as about expansion and creativity, and the swords is the sort of the mind, so expansion and creativity, that kind of a the 3 in the sort of the mind to me is, it can be pain, and it can be about tough truths, but it can also be about learning, about expanding your mind, quite literally. Doesn't always have to be a negative thing. So I do like when the image on a 3 of Swords doesn't take you straight to the negative, Beautiful 4. 5. She looks quite ruthless, doesn't she? 6. I'd love to be able to paint like this. 7. 8. There's almost some, like, that 7 of Swords, it feels to me like he's like kind of looking up to the stars, like he's kind of I don't know, he's just having a wee bit of a daydream moment, almost like a 7 of Cups type moment. The 8 of Swords has more of a you can almost only see one side of her face, there's definitely something hidden there. So I'm getting more 7 of Swords vibes from this image, just because it is quite dark, and like I say, she's kind of only get one side of her face properly to us. I don't know what everyone else thinks about that. 9. 10. It's almost feral, isn't it? Page of Swords. The Knight. Queen. And the King. Not such a young face on this King. Interestingly enough, maybe this isn't the case at all, but like when I'm thinking about kings who are normally depicted as young, and a lot, maybe not a lot, but in quite a few decks I have seen the King of Swords being depicted as quite a young person, and the way that I've always thought about that is it's like because the King of Swords tells the truth. His whole thing is like the truth, and it's like the truth like a child, telling the truth like a child would. Do you know what I mean? Like almost without that kind of what am I trying to say? Like they almost like don't temper the truth with kindness, kind of like a child does, because it's not quite learned how to be savvy and how to be my dogs are making noise in the background. So yeah, I've always thought of the King of Swords. If any king was going to be depicted young, it would be the King of Swords, because they have that childlike, they just blurt things out without really much thought. Whereas it's interesting that here we've got the Wands and the Cups kings are quite young faced, and then the Swords king looks a wee bit more wizened. But then I suppose the Swords is the suit of the intellect and stuff, so with age comes wisdom and all that. Anyway, I'm going on and on. We have a Hedgehog for a Ace of Pentacles. Badger's Den. Six of Pentacles, almost as if a Seven of Pentacles vibe, doesn't it? It's that idea of harvesting. Or seven are a pregnant woman in it. Same woman, I think she's a fae, isn't she? Or 8. The 10, and then we have our final cards, our Page of Pentacles, our Knight, Queen, King. So I always like to just show you, the deck in action. So Llewellyn, so we know we're going to get a beautiful riffle shuffle out of it. And it's, I believe, standard tarot size. I'll compare it to something. So it's going to be easy enough to overhand. Well, I say standard. It's actually a wee bit shorter. So that's it compared to a kind of a US Games type size. But I think a tiny bit broader. Yeah, it's just a smidge broader, if you can kind of see that. So yeah, it's so a bit shorter but a bit broader, but almost imperceptible. So as you can see, it overhands really nicely. And we'll do a 3 card pull. The backs on the cards as well are really nice. Okay, so what have we got? Oh, we've got the 5 of Swords. So the situation is the 5 of Swords, then the 6 of Swords. I've spread this deck out and picked these from random places, by the way. Can we just say? and then the outcome is the King of Cups. Okay, so some pretty, the Five of Swords is quite a harsh card. It talks of, like, for me, fives are imbalanced, and then the swords is the suit of intellect and the mind, and so maybe a bit of kind of a feeling a bit unbalanced by something, a bit unsettled by something. We usually see some kind of depiction of something cruel, or some kind of loss, some kind of defeat. But there's something that's going on that we're not feeling great about, essentially. So that's what's kind of the situation that this is talking about. It's talking about some kind of challenge or difficulty that we're going through. And it feels like, so the advice is the Six of Swords. So because this is the next card, it's literally, the next card in the sequence, I feel like this is saying to us, we just need to let things run their course. Things are going to naturally work themselves out. We just need to kind of see things through. So this isn't about kind of a totally jumping ship or anything like that. This is about, staying the course and just trust the process almost. Six of Swords is about, finding that balance after those difficult times. We find a way to kind of almost get our minds balanced again. So we usually see, the kind of a boat going through, taking the passengers on a boat. Is that what we call people on a boat? Are they passengers? I don't know. It's been a long day, and it's now 9 o'clock, so my brain is now a potato, so apologies. But to me, this is just a kind of a harmonising of the mind, so after the imbalance, after the difficulty, after the shitstorm that is the five, we find some way, whatever way it is, we find some way of getting things kind of back on track. Now, this could be about speaking to someone. Could be about going to therapy, speaking to a therapist, or it's just finding some way to take yourself from that difficult situation to the your next destination, those calmer waters. But like I say, it feels like that this is a natural progression from this. So if you feel that you're in a difficult situation, if this is speaking to you feel that you're in a difficult situation right now, then stay the course. You're on the right course. Things feel shit right now, but you are on the right course, and things are going to right themselves, and we do see things coming out at the King of Cups. So to me, that speaks of emotional balance. Kings to me are both water and air. I associate the kings with air, and then it's because it's cups, it's water. So I do see this kind of a rebalancing of the emotions and the mind. Our thoughts, our heads and our hearts are balancing themselves out again after going through something that's quite difficult. So stay the course. Things are looking good in the outcome, in the long run. We just need to kind of stay the course and trust the process. And yeah, take that, whatever that journey looks like for you, make sure that you take it. But anyway, yeah, the point in this wasn't to give everybody a reading. The point was to let you see what the cards look like when they're kind of laid out. So there you go, 2 for 1. Anyway, thank you so much everyone for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this. Take care. See you all later. Bye.